এটা কি বিস্কুট তাই না কেন আমি এখন কি মানে কিছু খাবো না আমি এখন কিছু খাবো না সেভাবে ভালো লাগছে না যাও।
Jani, are you there? I think, am I audible? We'll start around 4 minutes. Thank you for your participation. Please wait. Ajani, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Daru. Am I audible, right? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Daru. Thank you very much. Right. So, good evening from my side. Ladies and gentlemen, it's with immense pride and heartfelt joy that I welcome each one of you to this momentous occasion, the first International Conference on Criminology 2025, organized by the Department of Criminology at Ashadi Wisdom Campus, Sri Lanka. Today is indeed a landmark day for our department as we open the doors to meaningful dialogue, scholarly exchange, and international collaboration in the dynamic field of criminology. This conference marks not just an academic milestone, but a collective commitment to addressing complex issues related to crime, justice, and social safety in both local and global context. We are truly honored to have with us a distinguished keynote speaker whose academic contributions and research in criminology are recognized internationally. Please join me in warmly welcoming lecturer, Ainola Alipur, a renowned criminology researcher and lecturer from the Department of Criminal Law and Criminology, Faculty of Law, Tabiat Madras University, Tehran, Iran. His insights and expertise will undoubtedly enrich today's proceedings and inspire us to push the boundaries of criminological inquiry. So, another thing is, as we embark on this academic journey together, let us embrace the opportunity to learn, question, and contribute to field that remains ever relevant to the well-being and progress of societies across the globe. Thank you for your presence, your passion, and your participation. Let this be the beginning of many more international academic collaboration and milestones to come. With that, I now officially declare the first International Conference on Criminology 2025. So thank you and welcome once again, Mr. Ainola, over to you. I think you are there. Mr. Ainola, am I audible?
Hello.
Yes, hello. Yes, you can start your speech.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really a privilege to join you today at the first International Conference on Criminology organized by Ashady Wisdom Campus. I am Ignul Alipur, as Dr. Avindu kindly introduced me, from Tabriz Madaris University, Tehran. And first and foremost, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Avindu and inviting me to deliver this keynote. My field of study examines protest policing from different points of view, exploring how strategies vary across contexts and how they shape both social order and democratic engagement. So, as a humble keynote speaker, am I always coming through okay? Dr. Avindu?
Yes, I think now you can visible, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, as I was saying, as a keynote speaker, it's incumbent upon me to set the stage by underscoring the necessity of criminology, and especially criminological theories in public order affairs. It relevant to me. So, as you know, criminology provides the analytical tools to understand why societies, most importantly, regulate behavior, how power dynamics inform definitions of crime and disorder, and what consequences follow from policing practices. By grounding public order interventions in theory, we all can critically evaluate the assumptions, diagnose unintended harms, and design more equitable approaches, that balance security with fundamental rights. So with those foundations laid, I'd like to guide you into, our discussion on deconstructing public order policing through three core questions. First is, what do we mean by order simply in public order? So how have criminological theories shaped, strategies of public order policing? And what tensions arise when the state seeks, both security and liberty, balancing between those. So I'll illustrate each step with real world examples and draw on classical and contemporary thinkers. So let's all begin. First, I want to talk about the order and its many faces. So when most people hear order, they imagine, simply calm streets and obedient citizens. But criminology teaches us that order is far from neutral. So classical criminology, as you all know, Beccaria and Bentham, they view order as the absence of crime maintained through clear laws and, proportionate punishment. Under this view, people are rational actors. They impose certain swift penalties, and crime, in their point of view, will drop definitely. So by contrast, positivist criminology, the famous Lombroso and Durkheim, they see order as a social equilibrium. So what does this mean? And it means crime is not just individual choice, but a symptom of collective dysfunction. You all are familiar with these concepts, enemy, inequality, or breakdown of social bonds. In addition, Durkheim's study of suicide, for instance, showed how too much or too little social integration can lead to, despair. So, I want to be quick, and moving into the 20th century, Michel Foucault reframed order as a network of power relations and surveillance. In the famous book Discipline and Punish, I think 1975, it describes how prisons, schools, and other institutions operate as, disciplinary mechanisms. So here, order is less about crime per se than constant regulation of, bodies and behaviors. So biophysics. And for instance, today and nowadays, in many cities, smart CCTV cameras track movements in real time. So what looks crime prevention in their point of view also shapes how and where, we move through public space. It can be regulated. So moving to, next concept, if order is contested, public order becomes even more so. Three perspectives, I think, in my, conclusion, help us see the stakes. First is functionalism, as I was saying about Durkheim. In this theory, public order is the collective conscience, shared norms, and, that bind society. So about protest, when protests erupt, functionalists see them as pathologies, signs that institutions have failed. Simply saying about, next theory, conflict theory, the famous Marx and critical criminologists, they say public order serves, ruling class interests. Laws and policing protect property and power, often at the expense of, marginalized groups. I hope these would be, clear. So the third one is about symbolic interactionism, the Gottman theory and labeling theories. They say public order is negotiated in every interaction between police and citizen, between, media and audience, and who is labeled orderly and who disruptive depends on social roles and, framing process. So here I want to, bring some real world snapshots. In the United Kingdom's Public Order Act 2023, I think, new powers restrict protests near Parliament and key installations, ostensibly for security, but critics argue, it curtails free assembly. And the next one will be about, 2023 pension reform protests in France, where tear gas and water cannons, met, striking workers who saw their, livelihoods under threat. One group's public order, here, would clash with another's right to dissent. So I laid the grounds to, to reach here. Public order policing and theories in action. POP, or public order policing, sits at the intersection of theory and practice. Let's examine 4 influential models. First one, you all know, the famous, broken window theory by Wilson and Kelling, 1982, MMI. So it simply says signs of minor disorders like, broken windows itself, graffiti, loitering, they all invite serious crime. And how would it be applied? Aggressive enforcement of petty offenses to maintain order. For instance, New York City's stop and frisk program in the early 2000s aimed to, nip crime at the bud. It did reduce, certain crime statistics, but at the cost of, massive racial profiling and community distrust, particularly, as you all know, among, Black and Latino residents. So the second would be situational crime prevention by Clark, 1990. So simply it says crime is opportunistic. So we design environments to reduce opportunities. Like in protest situations, kettling tactics, if you all, would be aware of that. Kettling tactics to contain protests, and protesters, anti-sit spikes, to deter occupation, and wider boulevards for easier crowd control. So it would be, it may work somehow in, some moments, but critics says, it treats protests as criminal behavior, not political speech. So, there are many examples here. During the 2009, G20 summit in London, police kettle, thousands of activists in, cold weather without food or water, leading to mass arrests and, international outcry at the end. So third one would be escalated force model. It simply says dissent, equals threat, and the, and the requirement for the police would be, they must dominate. So the examples are riot gear, tear gas, preemptive arrests, and real world examples like in Belarus, if I'm remembering it correct, in 2020, authorities cracked down on, peaceful post-election demonstrations with what? With stun grenades and mass detentions. So what is the outcome? Short-term suppression and long-term delegitimization of the state, in the eyes of many citizens. And the final model in the literature is negotiated management, by McPhail and his, colleague. So in this model, policing and police should facilitate, not suppress or anything, and curtail the freedom of assembly. And how it could be applied is all about the dialogue, liaisons between police and organizers, agreed routes and, times maybe, and, limited use of force. And the success story of this would be, in South Africa, parades around the Woodtrekker monument often, follow negotiated routes, ensuring, both visibility for protesters and, minimal disruption for residents. It is kind of positive, but in my mind, this theory, what I'm framing it as governing through permits, and all protesters must have, permit, governmental permit to come to the street. And it simply is self-regulation, self-policing, or anything else that you may name it. And I want to, conclude my, notes, and by saying about core tensions, in public order policing. Across these four models, three tension occurs. And the most important would be legitimacy versus control. Weber, Max Weber taught us that the state's monopoly of violence, depends on legitimacy. And Tyler's, procedural justice research shows that people, comply when they see police as fair. It is very simple. Yet when, police emphasize control, like the examples that I brought, London's, kettling or Paris's water cannons, public trust erodes. It is very simple. And the next tension would be human rights versus state security. So, international covenants like ICC, PR, or UN basic principles, these all, guarantee freedom of assembly. Yet states often, invoke public order to justify restrictions. Many examples there are here, like Iran, my country, in 2022, crackdowns on, women-led woman life freedom protests, or movement, whatever we call it, resulted in thousands of arrests, justified simply by authorities as necessary for stability and the status quo. And another one would be Hong Kong 2019. New security laws curtailed protest rights, leading to a mass exile of, activists. So my last one would be here, the attention about protest policing as democracy's litmus test. What does this mean? How a state manages dissent. I want to be clear here. How a state manages dissent reveals its democratic character. Liberal democracies, wrestle with balancing, disruption and dissent, and authoritarian regimes show, little, maybe sometimes little tolerance. There's nothing. So to conclude and to sum up, three simple points. Order is socially constructed. What counts as, disorder depends on, power relations, whether through law, norms, or surveillance. And second point would be public order policing, or POP strategies, reflect state priorities, from facilitation, like negotiated management, to suppression, like escalated force. Policing choices reveal what a society value more, security or liberty. And the last one is the health of democracy. You know, robust democracies allow space for dissent, without branding it criminal. So what I'm saying here is, as criminologists, our task is to unpack, these power dynamics and advocate for policing practices, that respect public order and fundamental rights, And yeah, thank you for your kind attention, and I look forward to our discussion.
Yes. So I would like to request all of the my dear audience, any questions you can ask from our today's speaker, Mr. Inola. Over to you, or the audience. Are there any questions based on today's session? You can unmute, or please write on Zoom chat. You can ask it. And as we draw this remarkable conference to a close, I wish to express my deepest gratitude to everyone who made it the first International Conference on Criminology 2025. Grand success. So heartfelt thank you to our esteemed today's keynote speaker, lecturer, Mr. Inola, from Tabiat Modris University, Iran, for his thoughts-provoking and inspiring address. So your contribution has definitely added immense value to these events. It's no any doubt. So I also extend my sincere thanks to all our presenters, participants, and academic contributors from around the world, especially Asia. So your enthusiasm, insights, and dedication have enriched our discussions and strengthened our global criminology community. So to our organizing team, especially my secretary, private secretary, Miss Ajani, thank you very much for your coordination part, and team based on our Department of Criminology and Ashadi Wisdom Campus whole staff team. Thank you for your tireless efforts behind the scenes. So let this conference be a stepping stone to future collaboration, research, and innovation in the field of criminology plus social sciences. So thank you and safe journeys ahead. Also, I would like to request to my secretary, please put the today's Google participation form to the Zoom chat box. All the audience, please fill this Google form. You can get your today's session participation certificate as well. Please fill. Kindly request from all the participants. Ajani, you are sending, right?
සර් මගේ WhatsApp එක මේකට කනෙක්ට් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
Okay, Daru, please wait. I'll check.
සර් පොඩ්ඩක්
My dear participants, I kindly request, please wait for a moment. Now I will send the link to the chat box. Please kindly wait. Now I send the link to the Zoom chat box, so you can fill up. Please go through the link. I kindly request from all the participants, please, you can now get the participation confirmation Google form via Zoom chat box, and please fill it up. Yes, also, no any questions, we can conclude today's first session based on our keynotes session by our Mr. Ainola Alipu. So thank you very much again for your participation and today's valuable insights based on criminology and that related area. And thank you very much for all the participants for your valuable participation as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Avindu.
Yes, you are welcome.
Have a good day.
Definitely, we will meet another upcoming events. Please keep in touch. Also, I will invite. Thank you very much.